What's going on, everyone? Brian Johnson, known for living out a quest to reverse his biological age and to stretch out his lifespan for as many years as possible, has recently released a video exposing his hardcore longevity enhancing morning routine.
I have the world's best biomarkers, and my morning routine is a big part of it. Hang out with me, let's do it.
To say that his morning routine is intense would be an understatement. In today's episode, Zach and I break down and discuss his morning routine and compare and contrast it to our own routines. As you're watching through the episode, Zach and I would love to know what your thoughts are. Are there similarities between Brian Johnson's morning routine and your own routine? Do you think that what he's doing is overkill, or do you think that not only is it worthwhile and beneficial for him to be doing, but something that might benefit future generations of humanity? Let us know in the comments. All right, without further ado, let's dive into the episode. So, Brian Johnson's intense morning routine.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think? It's pretty hardcore, right?
Super intense. Like, super intense. So I never heard of this guy. I watched the video and I immediately thought he was crazy. But you know, when you dissect it, there are some common sense things. I think there are some things that are mainstream. I just think it's like he's almost overthinking it. I think it's kind of the take home I took from it. And it's not applicable for everyone. So it's never going to take off. So even if it is optimal, not everyone can afford that lifestyle. But I would say I listed out all the things that he talked about in the video, and the video is really short, 10 minutes. About half of them, I think I would do, or people can do pretty regularly. The other half, I'm like, I would never even think about this. So what about you?
Yeah. I'm kind of on the same page as you. I think that for the average man, obviously, like, we're not going to be able to do all of that stuff. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't have, what is it, like, he had like a hyperbolic oxygen
chamber. Yeah.
He's got like the red light therapy.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing shockwave therapy. He's got a
sauna.
Sauna special filtration system for his water, his drinking water. So yeah, it's definitely more than the average person would be doing. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. I think that I tried to think about this a lot before you and I discussing it right now about, like, is there a lot of good in doing something like this? And I think that there could be a lot of good from him doing this, and that maybe it leads, like, him being a case study and getting some anecdote from it could lead to different approaches that could help people in the future. Maybe like 50 years from now, people could have hyperbolic chambers, oxygen chambers, or whatever it was called. I don't know if it's called a hyperbolic oxygen chamber, that kind of oxygen chamber. Maybe people can do shockwave therapy like in the average man's home, and maybe that is like more that in the future it could be a feasible thing for everyone to do. So maybe there could be some good in that sense, and maybe they're learning new things about longevity and increasing your lifespan because of what he's doing.
Yeah.
But that being said, I personally would not go through all of that trouble to potentially slow down my own aging. That's for sure.
Yeah. Like, to your point, like, it would take so long for that one study, right? Like, I don't want to call it sacrifice, because he makes a very point at the very end that he's like, still takes time to do everything else that he's doing. So I don't think he sees it as a sacrifice for his life, but like, you're basically taking a ton of time to try to prove this, and that's your life. And so that this study is going to take a really, really long time. And I don't know, I just feel like so much of it is, I don't want to say common sense, because obviously it became common by other people doing it and us figuring out, what works and what doesn't. But some of it, I mean, I think it's pretty simple. Like, get natural light. Duh.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I think, like, You know what I mean? And then he talks about, oh, go outside then instead. It's like, yeah, okay. Like, I don't think we need study or anything like that. But I guess to his point, like, you should do it to live longer. But just, I think, like, don't even have a looks like go outside. Just like change your schedule a little bit. He's flexible enough where he can just go outside for a walk. Um, but
Well,
yeah.
I think that's the thing with the whole approach is he's doing all of these, and the routine that he's showing us is like until 11 or 11 a.m. It's literally
Hmm.
just his morning routine. But I think like all of these different intricate activities that he's doing in the day, each of them just add in like a percent or a fraction of a percent to
Hmm.
slowing down his aging process. I think that these things probably aren't like if you do the sauna every day, you're going to live an extra 10 years. It's like maybe it contributes a little bit somehow, but it's
Yeah.
really tough. It would be really tough, I think, to be able to measure exactly how that would be contributing to living longer and
Hmm.
improving your
Hmm.
longevity. I know he mentioned like the sauna, for example, it boosts
Yeah,
according
it's
to
one of
what
his
he said.
biggest one, he said.
He kind of glazed over the benefits. Like he said that it does things like the sweating helps release toxins and it helps boost
Hmm.
your metabolism, which other people might argue is it doesn't really boost your metabolism. And if it does, it's like to a trivial amount.
Yeah.
And yeah, sweating releases toxins, but again, it's like, is it worth
Hmm.
allocating your time every day to go do that? I think personally the biggest benefit of like the sauna is just like it feels good, and because it
Yeah.
feels good, like it'll relieve some stress. So maybe it lowers cortisol a little bit, which I that would be, I
Yeah.
think for me the biggest benefit I would get from something like a sauna.
Yeah. 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 I thought it was
Uh,
weird how he did say the numbers, like he does the blood test every day and it said like he's aging right now 50% slower. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, like when the guy dies at 80, we'll see, what the study says.
oh
But
man, the
like
irony,
yeah, you
that'd
know
be
what I
very
mean?
ironic.
And but you see that sometimes. You see these people living over 100 and they smoke every day and all this other stuff. So it's like who knows, you know?
Yeah.
But I thought it was really interesting the one where he talked about like they test the environment that he lives in to see the air quality and then I'm like, dude, you live in LA. Like, I'm like what do you expect?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting because I guess I took it, I was almost like duh. But when you break it down, like you were saying, these things do make sense. You know what I mean? And combining and having the most optimal, in each stage overall will have that compounding effect probably. It's just I think there's a balance between what's practical and just living life as well. Like I think sometimes we try to over science things,
Yeah.
just in general.
Well, that's the thing is he's spending so much time doing all of these things. That time could be spent doing other stuff. But I
Mhm.
guess it's a very individual decision to make is what to do with the time that you have. Like what
Mm, mhm,
how
mhm.
do you value is the best way to spend your time? And it's hard like for me to say like you shouldn't be spending all your time focusing on those things when you should go be focusing on like going out and having fun or spending more time
Yeah.
with your family or like doing different work. Like it's like I don't
Mhm.
I don't think it would be right for me to like criticize him for saying something like that because at the end of the day, again, like it might for the long term, like he might be positively impacting humanity's overall understanding of how to improve your longevity and your lifespan
Yeah.
and live a longer, healthier life. So maybe he is really, really positively impacting the world. So
Mhm.
it's really tough for me to like criticize him for that. I think for me, like I just wouldn't want to spend my time doing that. I would probably rather be focusing on other things, spending my
Yeah.
time in other ways.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think it's also it's tough because so many people is just not applicable for, right? Like you're thinking about like the construction worker, the guy that's out there, like like so he's talking about like he eats his last meal at 11 or whatever. Like, I don't know, what if you're a different shift worker, you can't get the light out in the day? There's just so many things that I think sometimes, um, although yes, optimally and like it might be the best way to extend someone's life. Like, you know, human beings are going to have to be doing things that are going to shorten their life, but for society to continue, right? Like it just has to, because these other people wouldn't be able to do these studies if people aren't there building roads, out there laying bricks and all these other things. So it's like he's basically learning this on the backs of like other people's shorter lifespans, which is,
Yeah.
but to your point, maybe in 100 years, as technology has increased, we now have this, and there's like robots doing stuff for us, so we don't have to do it anymore. I don't know. It's interesting when you start thinking about it, like how we get here, and there's so many people that don't have this, I guess, flexibility to figure these things out like that. But that's
Yeah.
why I like the things that you can do. You know what I mean? Like you can get good sleep, you can eat enough protein, you can get sunlight, you can exercise, you can drink water. Like I think stuff that almost anyone, especially like in any first world country, like can do, like you can do those things. So yeah.
I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. Well, what do you think about this?
Hmm.
If you're up for it, maybe what we can do is we can kind of break down his routine,
Hmm.
each of the big steps that he takes throughout the morning. We can talk about it, discuss it in more detail, each of the points specifically, and maybe compare and contrast to our own personal routines. Maybe see some of the things that we do that's similar to him, or things
Hmm.
that are very different to him that we do.
Like it.
And then we can compare and contrast even between you and I, how our morning routines are a little bit different. What do you think?
No, I like it. I like it. Let's do it.
Okay, sweet. So, first thing that he does in the morning, I think, is he gets up, wakes up, and then he takes his measurements right away. So,
Yes. Smart
suppose
scale.
he breaks that down into, I suppose, yeah, smart scale. So, like,
Mhm.
he's weighing himself, taking some other measurements. Um, Thoughts on that? What do you do? The first thing that you do when you wake up, do you take your measurements right away, or what does it look like for you?
I do. I do the same thing. So I don't do the body composition. I mean, I do have a smart scale, like an Amazon cheap smart scale, not the bipod one that's famous right now that everyone's doing. I don't do that stuff. Yeah, so I do that every morning. I get up, go to the restroom, and then weigh myself. So yeah, same thing. Now I wasn't doing that before I started the weight loss journey and transformation. And now it's just a habit, especially after doing the bodybuilding show. I just do it every day. And then I may or may not annotate it depending on what my goals are at that time if I'm feeling stressed out about it. But most of the time I'm also annotating that down. So like when he said the first thing, I'm like, oh, check. I do that as well. I'm assuming you also weigh yourself first thing in the morning.
Yeah, I do also weigh myself. Just my body weight. Right now I'm in a fat loss phase, so I do that as a means of making sure that I am losing my planned amount of body weight per
Mhm.
week daily, and collecting those as averages to make sure I'm losing about a pound per week. So it's the primary reason. When I'm not in a fat loss phase or in a prep, I often don't weigh myself. So
Interesting.
I will go months without weighing myself. I'll check every now and again to make sure, like if I'm in like a lean bulk phase or like a maintenance phase, make sure that I'm not gaining too quickly. Usually
Yeah.
I think from experience, intuitively I can tell if I'm gaining weight or if I'm not gaining weight. Again, like
Mhm.
lots of experience, I think that's where the intuition comes from. So I tend not to step
Yeah.
on the scale terribly often when I'm not in a fat loss phase or I'm not in a prep or something like that. I just don't really need to,
Yeah.
unless I'm just double checking to make sure I'm not gaining too fast. But yeah, I'm checking my weight pretty regularly at this
Mhm, mhm.
point. But that's it. That's the only measurement
I
that I'm
think
taking. Go ahead.
I think that's interesting because I step on the scale anytime, but I don't use the app because the scale I have has an app that syncs up to it, and then I write that down on a spreadsheet. So
Right.
I still weigh myself every day, but if I'm not trying to lose weight or anything, I won't annotate it. So it's almost like I know it's there, but it's not real unless I put it in the app. Um, You know what I mean? So, which maybe I shouldn't have done because after the bodybuilding show, I gained a ton of weight after that. And so on my little app tracker, it like skyrocketed up.
Big
But
spike.
Yeah, but it would have seen a more regular if I'd actually logged in the app. So it's just interesting. The second one I have, I'm really interested on this one. Okay, so I obviously do not do this.
Darn, I wanted to be the one to ask if you do this.
Now I apply my custom 8-ingredient blueprint hair serum to support hair growth and scalp health.
Can I ask it?
Yeah, you can ask it. Yeah.
Okay. So
you have to take your hat off though.
So the next point that he does first thing in the morning, he also does in the evening, he says, but first thing in the morning, he applies a special hair serum. Yeah. And I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like he does this to like keep his hair nice and thick and healthy, probably
for his hair growth.
Preventative measures to prevent against hair loss. I suspect he didn't say that, I don't think, but I would imagine that's got something to do with it. He also puts on a laser cap.
Yeah, like a red light cap. And he says it has like 8 ingredients. He washes it right out because if it's in there longer, I don't know. It seemed intense. Okay.
Yeah.
And
so question for you, Zach.
Yes. Yeah.
Zach, do you also apply a hair serum every morning?
Yes. I'm using Brian Johnson's hair serum. Obviously it doesn't work. No, I'm just kidding. No. Yeah. Nope.
It clearly hasn't been working. I've been waiting.
Yeah. No, the only thing I use is the 3-in-1 body wash because it's really simple. I can just use it for everything. I don't have to worry about shampoo and conditioner. So I don't do anything for my head. I cut it once a week. That's pretty much it. And I thought that was interesting. This is one of the things that I maybe that's why I was immediately put off from the video beginning. Number one, because I have no hair. And number two, I thought, like, how does this increase your life? That was the only thing that was weird to me. Like, how does hair directly correlate with lifespan? And I don't think he talks about that. It was almost like,
good point.
What are we talking about here? It's like, so the other stuff I could see, but this I was like, okay. So it was interesting. But
so maybe it's not like that. Well, that is a really good point because it isn't something that seems to contribute to living a longer life, but he does seem to have this kind of focus not just on longevity and lifespan, but also like looking youthful.
Yeah.
So that must be a big part of it is in addition to living longer, he also wants to look like he's younger for longer.
Which maybe you could say, like, I would understand with like a skin kind of thing, maybe making sure you're not wrinkly or having like bags in your eyes and all this other stuff, but not getting sunburn. But unless it's maybe, and it doesn't really talk about it, but unless it's encouraging not hair loss as you get older, you know what I mean? Like that would be maybe keeping a fuller head of hair for a longer time, potentially. But the real question everyone wants to know, because they've seen my head. What about you, Sam? What do you do for the locks there?
Yeah, really great question, Zach. Well, first thing in the morning, I don't actually do anything. Shower after I go to the gym, which ends up being like early afternoon. Shampoo, usually no conditioner, and that is that.
Interesting. I do notice though a lot of times I think because I cut my hair so much, I do notice like my head gets way more irritated and stuff like that. And so like so especially if like I've noticed this a lot now with my running. I used to run with no hat on, but then I'm trying to be like Nick Bear and hybrid. I like to run with the hat on backwards like you got right now because it looks cool. And then I'm like trying to justify it with like, oh, it protects my neck when I'm running, and I wear the shades now, and I'm like a #hybrid athlete.
So you've got your own longevity hacks, like mixed into your own routine.
That's true. Cool. I've just learned the hard way. You know what I mean? So through like last year of getting sunburn and getting more back, my wife says, "Oh, I have bags under my eyes because I squint all the time because I never wear sunglasses." So I'm trying to wear more sunglasses and stuff like that. But I do notice like I run and I sweat a ton on my head. And I feel like, especially if I just cut my hair within the first couple of days, I can tell like it just gets irritated and stuff like that more. But I also don't use any guard on my, when I cut my hair, stuff like that. So probably got to look into that. But I don't think it affects how long I'm going to live. I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
yeah.
longevity isn't measured by the amount of hair we have.
Yeah, then I'm done. I'm cooked.
Yep. Yep.
I love it. You're waiting for that one. You're like, yeah.
Oh man, I'm so glad.
I do have a really bad widow's peak too, though. Like, so even if I did grow it out, I don't know if it would cover it up, but I do have it happening already.
Yeah,
So,
I'm pretty sure I'm starting to get that too. It's kind of hard to tell because I think I've always kind of had that hairline pattern. It's like a little bit of like a gap right here, so it's kind of hard to tell. But I'm in my 30s, and I think I'm starting to recede a little bit. But we'll see. We'll see where I'm at in the next 10 years.
Yeah, you'll have to ask Jeff that question when you talk with him.
True. I'll make sure I do.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Next thing he does, he lux light.
Yes.
So he makes sure he exposes himself to the lux light. Can't remember for how long. It showed a visual of him standing in front of his light for I don't know how long. And that's for the purposes of helping to set his circadian rhythm, like your internal body clock, to get him ready for the day, I suppose. So question for you, Zach, is do you go out of your way to expose yourself to either a lux lamp or light or good old-fashioned sunlight first thing in the morning to help set up your circadian rhythm for the day?
So I didn't even know what a lux lamp was. So I guess the answer to that would be no. Now I will say in the summer months, like it is now, I do get outside pretty quickly. I'd say probably from when I wake up, within 30 minutes, I'm outside. Now it's not a long walk or anything. It's just like I'm going to the gym or whatever. So I'm at least getting outside, driving, and then getting there. I do like turn on the light. So it's like I'm using artificial light, but I also do layers of it. We have like the less intense light, and then I turn on the higher one after I've been up, for 5 minutes. So it's not like completely blinding me. But this is one of the things where I don't necessarily do as much. It just depends. And the hard thing is with the seasons, the sunrise is going to be different at different times. And I wake up at the same time regardless. So if it's dark out or not, I just keep going with the normal. I think Huberman talks about this too in some of his videos, talking about this. One of the best things you can do. I don't disagree with it. I think it is super important, but I don't really make it a point to do it. What about you?
I don't make a point of doing it. And I think my personality, like when I wake up first thing in the morning and there's like some daylight outside, I actually get excited when it's like cloudy and overcast and rainy. I'm that kind of person. I love the clouds. I love the overcast. I love the rain. As long as I'm not like stuck walking in the rain. I like watching the rain, and I like when it's dark. So like, I don't know, I kind of feed off that. It's like the anti-Superman vibes.
Yeah.
And I don't really go out of my way to expose myself to sunlight. I can have my windows closed all day and I'm cool with it. I like the feeling of being kind of like enclosed. I don't know what it is.
I do think two questions, I guess. Do you like use like blackout shades in your bedroom or anything like that?
Good question. I do not. And I've thought about installing some, buying some and installing some, but I don't. I am usually woken up from a little bit. I don't know if actually I'm woken up by it, but there is a little bit of light that escapes through the blinds that I have. That does get in. So there usually is some light from outside that gets in. It's definitely not direct sunlight. It's not direct light from outside, but I suppose you could make an argument to say that I get up with natural light. What time do you typically get up?
So average probably between 4:30 and 5:30 in the morning. So like today I woke up at 4 and it was still dark out. But we have the black light or the blackout curtains. So even when I go into the restroom, we have one of our our window in the bathroom is like one of those that's like you can't see through it or see out of it, but it's kind of you can't. We have no curtains over it, so like you kind of sunlight's coming through, but it's not as hard or whatever. So you can tell there's a different light out. And in the summer, it's obviously brighter. If I wake up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock or whatever, I can tell versus the winter. But like on the weekends, if I sleep in, when we open the curtains, I'm like, oh my god, if it's like 7 a.m., I'm like, it's so bright. So I don't wake up by the sunlight at all because we have it blacked out in the room. So it's either by alarm or like today I woke up 15 minutes before my alarm. So I'm pretty good at like if I know I have to be up at a certain thing or I'm thinking about something, my body will like wake me up beforehand. It's like I can consciously know if I have something important to be at the next day, then my body just wakes up. If I don't, then I will sleep in or whatever. What time do you wake up?
I get up at between 6:15 and 6:45.
Okay. Yeah.
Pretty reliably. I don't use an alarm.
Hmm.
So my body just gets me up at around that time.
Nice.
Go to bed at around the same time every day, kind of between 10, 15, and 11. So like
Hmm.
7.5 to 8 hours of sleep, I think, pretty
Yeah.
consistently. But yeah, my circadian rhythm is pretty locked in. Wake up at the same times every day, and yeah, it's between in the
Mhm.
summertime, springtime, early fall, between 6:15, 6:45. There's definitely some sunlight that's coming in through my blind, so I'm getting up
Yeah.
with some light. And
Yeah.
you mentioned you do get up before your alarm gets off, like, if you kind of know that you have something in the day, like, you just kinda naturally get up, or do you find that
Yeah.
you need the alarm clock?
Um, I would say if there's something important, I'm waking up beforehand. If it's just a normal day, I would say probably 60% of the time I have the alarm will kind of go off. But I'm getting better at I used to have like two alarms. I used to have really loud, like obnoxious things. Now it's kind of like a really small little like pretty sound or something. But also I think a lot of it I got tired of waking up my wife, who then got mad at me. Right. And then there would be days if I did want to sleep in, I would get "Are you getting up?" Like, 'cause she's so used to me getting up as well. So that was like the secondary alarm. Um, but I used to have a hard time and I would snooze, but now I don't. It's like, okay, yep, I'm getting up. I think a lot of that is just like I like going to the gym in the morning. I also have the accountability partners, where we've talked about in the past. If they're waiting on me or whatever, I gotta go and get up. So yeah. And then the other thing I was gonna ask you, because I know this happens to me at work. I'm like been inside all day. I do have a window in my office. Um, but it's just something about like the artificial light all day looking at a computer screen. Like there are times where I like to go outside and just like soak up that sun and just like feel it. I don't know. Do you get that at all? Especially I know that you do a lot of work on the computer and stuff like that.
I I think my kind of personality is I could be inside all day and I'd be okay. I like that
Hmm.
feeling of I just like the feeling of being, like, kind of enclosed.
Hmm.
That being said, I still go for at least 1 walk in the middle of the day, if not 2 walks now that I'm prepping, I am doing intentional steps, trying to be
Yep.
active. So I am getting direct sunlight with those walks, and I have mixed feelings about them. I like it.
Oh,
I
interesting.
I I don't love it. I don't feel recharged when it's, like, really, really hot, even though I'm getting tons of sunlight, like, usually when it's above 30 degrees Celsius, um, I I feel it drains me because of the heat even though it's sunny, but, like, when the temperature is, like, just right, then it's like, yeah, I like
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
Um,
nice, nice.
Today I walked in the rain, and it was overcast and dark, and I didn't love it even though I like the
Yeah,
overcast, and that was just 'cause I was getting rained on, so can never
yeah,
win with me.
yeah. You just need to get a dog, so then you have to walk the dog. Then
Then I
you'll,
have no choice.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See? Nice, yeah.
Um,
I know that's what he talked about kind of after that, if you don't have a Lux Light, he talked about walking, and
yeah.
then he was like, "Oh, make sure it's not too like where the sun's too hot or the UV over a certain thing." I'm like, "Yep, I think okay, there are some
I'll just
I
have
think
to
there's
yell at the sun to, like, chill
yeah,
out.
like, hey, stop." Next one I didn't understand, Sam, do you measure your inner ear temperature?
Oh, every day. Of course.
Yeah, and
Uh,
that's what he said, his, like, internal temperature was getting lower or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, but I don't
He's
think many people are measuring their inner ear temperature.
Yeah, and I guess it's just like a checkup thing. It's like, what are you gonna
Yep.
do if it's higher, right? It's like
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
I think he said that over the course of the past several years, it's got lower by several degrees, and
Mhm.
then he makes a point of saying that some research indicates that it may lead to whatever, like better longevity or like
Yeah,
slower aging. I can't remember what he said. We'll have to like look back at that. But he said even then it's like ambiguous as to
yeah. It does.
if it concretely does make a difference. I suspect it
Mhm,
probably does though. If you take someone that's like morbidly obese, for example,
mhm.
they're probably their
Running
body
hotter.
temperature, they've got more on their frame. Yeah, they're probably running hotter.
Mhm,
People
mhm.
that are in that situation probably aren't gonna have as good of longevity as people that are leaner, just lower body fat percentage.
Yeah.
So that there could be a reliable correlation between your body temperature and your lifespan.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
interesting. Had you ever thought about that before?
Never thought about that, but as we were thinking about that, it's kinda like and one thing I wish he would've mentioned, but he doesn't. So, I used to not track a lot of stuff until I got the Fitbit. And now I track all that stuff. So it tracks like my resting heart rate and stuff like that. So when I sleep, because that's like the closest thing I was thinking of. I think it also it measures like a whole bunch of other stuff too, but I don't pay for the upgrade. Um yeah, it gives me like my sleep, like a readiness score. It talks about like your oxygen levels, whatever, everything else. But the biggest thing I look at is my heart rate. And I do notice a difference, but it's more of like when I'm stressed, if I'm not getting sleep, my heart rate's higher, obviously. When I'm doing more of the running prep, it'll get better over time. I think that makes sense. And then when I was getting leaner, it was getting lower,
Yeah,
which I was surprised.
yeah.
But
And
I don't
that's one
know.
thing
Yeah.
that like prep athletes see, especially like the leaner you get, the slower the heart rate goes.
Yeah.
Can get like really, really slow when you're really, really lean. Just get like
Yeah.
super chill. I mean, when you're contest lean, you don't feel very chill a lot of the time, but heart rate's
Yeah,
different. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Do you like that? Do you like having do you like
Yeah.
being able to see all of those different just everything that's going on in the
Yeah.
body?
I think so. Yeah, yeah, I would say yes, I do. I just don't hyper fixate on it. It just is what it is. I think I think it's the fine balance of like the generation we are and growing up where we didn't have these things, but we've learned to use it, but I'm not reliant upon it. And at the end of the day, I still think just like listen to your body. Like we've talked about, I lost all my weight the first time um, without any tracking system at all. I didn't even track my calories. I just kind of did it all by feel. I used to run without anything with like the old school, just like a Timex and just watch it. And then I would go on MapQuest and like see how far I ran. Right. But I think as I wanted to take things to the next level, I started using technology to my advantage. But I don't stress. Like it'll tell me my sleep score. It tells me how stressed I am, my daily readiness. And I'm like, I feel great today though. So this is wrong. um, so, or
Yeah.
like some of the runs, some of my best runs, I'll go and my heart rate will be like 170 the whole time. I'm like, that's bad. And then another run, the heart rate will be like 140 the whole time, but it feels awful. Like, so it's just kind of like, again, I think it's just data, and then you can take from it how you felt, how you performed. I guess if I wanted to take next level, I would put notes next to these things, but I don't do that much.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good point is being able to take all of that data objectively and look at it just as that like they're just data sources. They're not everything in the world
Mhm,
and
mhm.
not to over fixate on them, not to completely rely on them. I remember when I was working as an in-person personal trainer, there's a couple other personal trainers that were really fixated on whatever it was. This would have been like 7 or 8 years ago, 6 to 8 years ago. So the technology wasn't quite where it's at right now, where it would like measure how recovered your
Mm.
parasympathetic and your sympathetic nervous system are, and based off of where each of those systems are in their recovery, they would gauge how hard to train or how hard not to train.
Ah, interesting.
Um, But I always thought that was a mixed bag because, like, it could say that your parasympathetic system or whatever is, like, really under recovered, but you still have it in you to get, like, the best workout in your
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
So, like, even though the data says something, it might be contrary to what's actually possible, and I've actually found for myself too, like, a lot of the times where I have, like, bad sleeps, I feel
Mhm.
stressed and I feel groggy, like, I actually
Yeah,
feel bad in my workouts. I end up, like, hitting PRs that I'd never thought
yeah,
I could hit
yeah, yeah.
before. It's weird. And then on the flip side, on the days where I feel my best, I sometimes don't either A, don't perform as well as I had hoped to, and
Mhm,
B,
mhm.
sometimes those are the days where, like, I, like, get a little nagging injury from, like, pushing too hard. It's like those are the
Yeah,
days where I actually end up with the little aches and pains is because, like, I it actually helps to, like, hold myself back sometimes.
yeah. I think it's also interesting because I feel like there's probably a big difference too between, like, general fitness or more of, like, something like a bodybuilding or something versus, like, a I'm thinking of, like, a competitive athlete because you can't really just if you're not feeling it, like, you still gotta go out there and try to win, right? Like, so I think you learn it doesn't really matter how I feel, I gotta bring my A game today. Um, you know what I mean? Like, I always think of,
Yeah.
like, the Michael Jordan, the flu game or whatever, when he just had to go out there and had the flu and performed really well. Um, but, just stuff like that, I think if you buy too much into it, and it's also mental, then you think that as well, and like today, my first couple sets, I felt awful. I was like, man, I feel weak. I'm not in it, and I kind of wussed out on some of my weights and stuff. And then by the next 2 or 3 exercises, I felt great. It was just, just like, and you could easily mentally given up on yourself or whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, like, kinda like developing an awareness, I
Mhm,
suppose,
mhm.
like, being aware of, like, how you're feeling and kinda going with the flow, not cutting yourself short, still getting after it, but
Yeah.
listening to how you're feeling, but not using that to cop yourself out, you know? I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
thing.
For
It's like
sure. For
that's
sure.
a really good point, though. It's like
Mhm.
if you take it from the perspective of a professional athlete that, like, they gotta train, they have to, like, work on getting better. It's like they're not gonna be skipping training sessions because their parasympathetic nervous system is, like, not doing so hot, you know?
Yeah. 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 Exactly. Exactly. Um, the next one that he mentioned, let's see what your thoughts are because I tend to agree with him, but maybe not in the same sense. But filtered water, what do you do for Do you do anything, or do you just drink out of the tap? Or
Oh, man. I just drink right out of the tap. Just
okay,
plain old
nice.
good old-fashioned tap, city water. I grew up in, like, a small town. We relied on well water.
Yep, yep.
We had a water softener, and, like, that water was not perfect, that's for sure. I think that I mean, it's incredibly likely that having particles of carcinogenic stuff is not a good thing. I think there's
Yeah.
no argument there, but I often wonder, like, is there a little bit too much fear mongering going on as
Mhm.
far as, like, over filtering or under filtering your water goes? I guess only time will tell with me, but I've never been big on filtering my water
Yeah.
wherever I've been, unless there's noticeably been like, "Okay, this, like, it either tastes off or, like, looks weird," but I don't really remember any notable situations where I've been kind of
Yeah.
have
I
facing that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm the same. We grew up on a well, which I am a fan of. If you had to ask me, I think that probably makes sense. Like the earth is like filtering it out, and that's how it's supposed to be in nature, right? Like, and so you're not dying of disease if you're drinking like, you know, you can if the well is like contaminated, right? But like, you know what I'm saying. Um, and so I will drink out of the tap. I used to drink out of the hose as a kid, like we just go up there and drink out of the hose when you're playing outside. Um, but I also think same thing. There's a lot of mongering, but also it's like I mean I can't remember what the stat is or the specifics, but it's like our toilet water in like America or Canada is like cleaner than like a lot of other countries' water, right? So not saying it's optimal, but like it's we're not dying from anything that we're drinking around here. I don't think. And it's really funny because where my parents live, they live out in the mountains and they're on a well. And I like when I go up there, it's like I think it's iron or whatever in it. Like I can like smell it. Like, when you take a shower or whatever, you can smell it. I can taste it when I drink it. And he'll come down here and like he'll drink out of the sink or whatever. He's like, I can just taste this chlorine. And I'm like, Dad, no, you can't. Stop. He's like, the city water. I'm like, okay, well, we have a filter on our fridge if you want to use that, I do notice a difference though, like with the taste of different water. And I do think like a cleaner filtered water, or like the best water I've had is out of a spring, like when I've been hiking or whatever in the mountains and there's like a natural spring. You just drink it right out of there. I think that tastes so good. But I don't necessarily know if it is making us live longer or not.
Yeah. I used to, in the small town that I grew up on, we lived on the lake, beautiful area. And when we were younger, we would all go swimming in the summer, of course. I used to drink right out of the lake. Like it was hot.
Yeah.
It's like, it was hot outside. I'm thirsty. I'm in the water. I mean, it's fresh water, but I mean, like, it's not that fresh. There's dirt and all sorts of stuff in there that's like not fresh. But I used to drink. I was okay. I never got sick from it, at least not that I know of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there is something to it. Like, there's certain places in the world undeniably it's not going to be good to drink the water, but the city water that we drink, or like the well water that we drink, I'm not a researcher on the topic, so I guess I can't really give any concrete
it's so bad. You know how
advice, but
nowadays they have the you can go to the gym, you put your water bottle and it fills it up. And then the filter will change to yellow and then red when it needs to be changed. It's so at my gym, it's been red for like a week.
Red.
And then they put a note on it. It says the filter has been changed, the light is broken. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's like, I don't even care. Like, I'll drink the red filtered water. Like, I don't know. It's no different than if you just drink out of like it's like whatever. So not a big, I don't stress about that. So
yeah. Okay. Well,
the next. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So he drinks that water with his special supplement mix. I wanted to quickly interrupt this episode to let you know about the work that I do. I work full-time as an online physique coach, helping my clients to accomplish their muscle growth and fat loss goals by optimizing their approach to strength training and nutrition. I've been doing this work since 2018 and love helping my clients to transform their bodies and ultimately their lives. If you've been considering getting some help with accomplishing your own physique goals, you're invited to hit the link in the description below to learn a little bit more about the work that I do and how I can help you. You can even use that link to schedule a free video consultation with me. If you have any questions about my coaching or how I can help you, just email me at sam@jadeathletics.ca. All right, let's get back to the episode. So interesting. He kind of, I think, glazed over some of the supplements he takes. He also mentioned that he has it with more supplements. I think it was kind of funny. And he's like, I greatly reduced the amounts of capsules and pills I'm taking with this mix. And then it was kind of funny because he's like, yeah, I do this. I have this with my filtered water, but I still have this other big pile of pills.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of funny. But he kind of glazed over, I think, what exactly he was taking. I think he mentioned the one that
There's
I
like
caught
three
was
main things.
ashwagandha was the one that I caught. But questions for you. The question for you is, do you take any fitness, sports, health supplements in the morning with your water, or with whatever you drink, or if you do or don't drink? What supplements do you take in the morning?
I do not take coffee. So the only thing I do is, so I used to get really bad headaches. I think we've talked about this, maybe not on the podcast, but just in general. And I can't swallow pills. So this kind of helps me not take a lot of things because I just can't. I don't know why. I shouldn't say can't. I haven't learned the skill yet of how to swallow pills. But so I used to get headaches really bad. I would take these like headache powders, these goodies headache powders. And I would take them religiously, but it was almost like I was addicted to them, and it was like a crutch. I didn't even have a headache, and I would take it. And I think as I've gotten more in tune with the body, gave up alcohol, gave up soda, the sugar, all the other stuff. Every now and then when I would still get headaches, I realized it was because I was dehydrated a lot of times and I needed more sodium. So especially right now with marathon prep, I will drink an element, the element powder. It's like 1,000 milligrams of
Right.
sodium. I mix that with 32 ounces of water. I think it's meant to mix with like 24. So I actually have it watered down a little bit more. I will mix that in my big water bottle at night. I will drink about half that water bottle. And then in the morning, I get up, go to the restroom, weigh myself, and then I'll drink the other half of that water bottle. And so I'm basically like bracketing my sleep with electrolyte and sodium, some kind
Right.
of mix. And then I usually work out in the morning, so I'll take my Pulse, shout out Legion, caffeine, of course, maybe 2, 3, 4 scoops depending on the day. and then I take the
2,
creatine.
3, 4, 10.
Yeah, yeah. And then I take the creatine after. And that is anything that I don't do anything else throughout the rest of the day. I don't take anything else. There's nothing for my joints, no fish oil, no nothing. So yeah, pretty bland, boring. But I do notice a huge difference with the sodium, even when I get a headache and my performance with, especially with the running stuff like that.
Yeah, the electrolytes do make a difference, I found,
Mhm.
for me too. But yeah, no, my routine's similar to yours. My supplement routine is like wake
Mhm.
up. I'm not taking any sodium or electrolyte mix. That's the element, right? It's like
Yep.
sodium, potassium, some other stuff in there.
Yep.
Um, I just have coffee. I'll have 2 coffees in the morning, and then I'll eat my breakfast several hours later when I'm hungry,
Mhm.
and then before my workout, I'll have my caffeine, my stim pre-workout, also Legion.
Yep.
And later in the day, I'll also have creatine with that. I won't mix it. My creatine's unflavored. I think most creatines are
Oh,
unflavored. Yeah, yeah. It just tastes like nothing, or like with a hint of paint thinner in the mix. So I'll just like have a
just a little bit of
little
paint thinner.
yeah, just a little hint of paint thinner in the mix. So I'll have that. Then I'll wash it down with the pre-workout after when it actually tastes good after the gym.
Mhm.
And then I'll have vitamin D with my
Okay.
first meal. So vitamin D, um, I think I would benefit from that because I'm not, I'm like enclosing myself in a
Yeah, not
cave,
getting the sunlight.
not getting sunlight. So vitamin D, the cashew or almond milk that I drink is enhanced with vitamin D, but I
Okay.
suspect it's not the same. So still supplement vitamin D. And then I have magnesium in the
Okay.
evening. Now the magnesium, debatable on if my body actually needs it or not. It might be just one of these things where the body's already getting enough and like maybe it's helping. I don't really know. The main reason that I have the magnesium is in the event that I am falling short from the magnesium that I'm getting in my whole foods, is if I am getting the optimum amount through the supplements, it might help my sleep a little bit.
Mm.
And I mean, if it's helping my sleep, then it's kind of going to be helping everything. So I'm taking the magnesium right now. But interestingly, this past weekend when I went home, like to visit family, didn't have any of my magnesium supplements, and I slept like an extra hour each
Oh,
night
nice. Yeah.
without the supplements. So it makes me think, well, maybe I don't need to be buying this
But
anymore because I
also
slept
maybe
good.
you were just relaxed, you're on vacation a little bit,
Yeah.
so many, you
Good
don't
point.
know.
But that is
Yeah.
the thing, there are all of these different confounding variables, so you are
Mhm.
100% right in
Yeah.
bringing that up, so good point.
I
Um,
did think though it was interesting how much because I wrote down he has a longevity mix. There's a couple things he used to have 12 pills that he would take, and they're into this new thing. But then he made a big deal. He has published his ingredients by a third party. Other companies don't. So like, yeah, you can look his stuff up. And I have seen his. I can't remember what the brand is called. It's like Blueprint or something or whatever it is. I have seen it like in other people's podcasts and videos and stuff like that. So he's definitely getting the marketing out there for whatever he's doing. Um,
yeah.
for
Oh,
that.
yeah, totally. He's very well known too
Yeah.
nowadays,
Mhm.
as, you know, perusing through his YouTube channel, and he's got videos that are getting millions of views, like his sleep routine or like how he fixed his sleep. I didn't watch it, but he's definitely a pretty well established, influential human being. That's for sure.
Yeah. But you know what he's not? He's not a jacked human being.
Yeah.
And that is because he's not eating enough grams of protein per pound.
Well, yeah. So. Well, okay. Why don't we perfect segue into it, talking about his breakfast. Super interesting, like all powdered breakfast.
Yeah.
Okay, what did you? Does he eat
meat?
Think?
Does he eat meat? Like I was trying. I didn't hear it at all. He eats like nuts and berries and veggies and like.
I wrote that down too when I was taking notes because first meal, and skipping ahead a little bit here. First meal, it was just like it's weird, right? It's just like his powders,
oil,
all supplements, and extra virgin olive oil. Very interesting. And then he dumps fruit on it.
Yeah.
So like tons of fruit, lots of fiber. So I guess he's very particular about getting his vitamins and minerals from fruit and fiber from fruit, and then the protein from protein powder, which is interesting. And then the rest of his meals are all plant-based. There were no animal-based protein sources in there, which is interesting. He didn't bring that up at all. Okay, what are your thoughts?
Well, that's why, like, I know humans, we don't need meat to survive. Okay, so I understand that, but we have these like incisors that we're designed to eat meat, right? So we can eat meat. And so that's why anytime people are like trying to figure out how to optimize, if it goes against my gut instinct of like nature, I don't think it can be right. You know, I don't think it can work. I think nature, and you could go down rabbit holes about the most like, are we created like, you know, for the whatever, like we're probably designed to be pretty efficient and effective. So if we eat meat and stuff like that, I think that would be the best. But I do think it's just interesting. Like you said, he glazes over it. He doesn't really talk about it. But even then, I would say he doesn't get enough protein. I do think like he's hitting the
0.7 grams per pound.
Yeah, which is what everyone always says. But I mean, he probably is hitting it because he measured everything specifically. I even wrote it down, 0.74 grams is what he did. But yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts about not eating any meat? Because don't you get other things out of it too? I know, like, you know, other nutrients and stuff.
Yeah, other vitamins and minerals.
Yeah, no eggs, right? Like eggs are huge. Like, I'm surprised.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting. He must have to make up for whatever he's missing out on from the animal-based protein sources. He must be making a point of getting that in like the powders he's taking. Like he must be, because he says that he made a point of saying that every calorie that he's taking in is being accounted for, and also it's like being fought for. Like it has to have a purpose for his body to be included in his diet. So it's things like in red meat, for example. I personally, I'm an advocate of eating red meat for health purposes. So, of course, high quality protein source, but also like, of course, B vitamins, which is found in not just red meat, but a lot of protein sources, animal based protein sources. But it's very high in iron, which is important for one's health, but also for the purposes like you and I are really concerned about building muscle and being strong, helpful for that. Also pretty high in zinc, which is also pretty helpful for building muscle and being strong, and also for like having the best hormonal production possible. So like for men, testosterone production is correlated well with, or at least to some extent, with having like a decent amount of zinc in your diet. So like getting that through something like red meat or seafood like oysters, like there's some big things that you could be missing out on. Or like you mentioned like eggs, you can get like flaxseed fed chicken eggs or omega-3 eggs that have ALA omega-3, which is a great fatty acid source. And then also in like fish, like salmon, getting your omega-3. So he must be like he did actually say, I think he didn't say it, but I think it showed up on the screen that he is getting omega-3s in one of his supplements. So he must be supplementing a lot of these things. But me personally, I would have a lot of trouble skipping out on the animal-based protein. I'm
wondering I'm wondering if he's vegetarian or something, or a vegan, or maybe there's some religious background. Like, I know it doesn't go into that. I also think if you really want to optimize, you could do the whole argument of depending on where you're getting the meat from and what they're being, like how they're being raised and grown, and what's
Yeah, like the
it's like not
ethics.
natural. Yeah, like yeah, exactly. They're just in a pen and they're just being given tons of fatty foods, and it's not that quality of meat actually. And then yeah, you're just raising them to kill them.
Well, you'd think
Um,
if it was someone like him, and if he had that argument, then he'd just have, like, the highest
yeah,
quality,
you
like,
go and pay for 'em.
pasture,
Yeah,
free roaming beef and chickens and
yeah.
that sort of
Have you ever
thing.
had, like, wild, like, venison or anything with, like, deer?
My uncle hunts, so
Yeah.
it's not like a venison steak, but, like,
Mm.
I've had, like pepperoni or, like,
Yeah.
processed venison, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, my dad hunts as well, and, he'll do all the butchering and everything, and it's funny because you can definitely taste the difference. Definitely tougher, gamier. But when you cook it and you prepare it like with seasoning and stuff, you can't even tell the difference. Like I don't even tell my wife sometimes because she's like won't want to eat the venison, but it's like if you make a burger out of it and you season it and stuff, like you can't even tell.
Yeah.
But I do think it's healthier. But I don't know the science behind it. But I just again, those are those like gut instinct, natural nature things that you just like it's gotta be.
Yeah, totally. Oh, man,
Yeah.
I get the other thing too is, like, just personal preference and overall enjoyment of one's diet. For
Mhm.
me, I would really struggle with his diet because I just, like, wouldn't like it. Like,
Yeah.
personal preference,
Yeah.
like, I'd be like, "Man, I miss animal-based protein sources because
Mhm.
I think they
Mhm.
taste good and I enjoy eating them." There's that element to it too that I'd really miss, and just and having a breakfast that's, like, a full meal that's, like, just powder, like, I would struggle with
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
would really
I'd
struggle
be
with
hungry
that.
all the time, never feeling full. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
totally.
Interesting. Yeah.
Any
I'm a
any
big
other
fan of one gram per pound. That's how I like to do it, just so I make sure I have enough.
yeah,
I
to
don't think
cover
there's anything
your
wrong with too much protein,
I
Huh.
don't think so. There used to be
Like the
a
window.
basically a hysteria that if you had too much protein, it would be bad for your kidneys,
Mm,
but
mhm.
that's been, to my, understanding, like, pretty much completely debunked unless you already have, like, some underlying issue with your kidneys, then maybe there's a
Yeah.
a point where you shouldn't, but, like, you
I
probably have something underlying.
Yeah. I just know the days that I eat more protein, when I'm getting 200 grams of protein a day, my calories are always less, which is like interesting. 'Cause, it's just like I'm filling them up with different foods that are just lower calorie, more filling. The days I barely hit my protein, I'm looking at like I definitely had a cheat day. I'm eating some junk food and stuff like that. So
Well, if
I
you
think it's
think
just
about it,
easier.
yeah, well, if you think about it, it's like the foods that we tend to overeat and get an
Mhm,
excess
mhm.
of calories from aren't, like, super high protein dense foods, like, it'll be, like, chips and
Yeah.
cookies and, like, those aren't high protein foods,
Yeah, unfortunately. Um,
unfortunately.
yeah, I know, right? Hey, you gotta be careful. Like, I love the Legendary. I love their brand. They're way too expensive though. They make the Pop Tarts, and
Yeah,
they are so good. The protein Pop Tarts. It's got 20 grams of protein for 180 calories, and it's so good. Yeah.
sounds deadly.
Yes, yeah, but they're like,
I
I think
just eat
it's
300 of them.
yes. Well, they're expensive. They're like $3 a Pop Tart.
Right.
So
The
yeah.
world's most expensive Pop-Tart, you better enjoy every bite.
Yeah, yeah, and I eat them super fast. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
man.
So the next one, I already joked about it early. I do not check the air quality before I go out. Now there is something I think in California when I lived there, um, like they do have like warnings about like the smog or whatever it is if there's really bad days. Um, but what are you gonna do? Not go outside? Like
Yeah, that's the
you
thing.
have to figure it out.
It's like if the quality is down, then all it's gonna do is, like, stress you out.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, do you concern yourself with that kind of stuff? Do you think about those things? Yeah.
No, but we do get, like every other summer, this summer we're lucky, but we get pretty bad forest fires around the area.
Mm-hmm.
And some summers we get like weeks of really bad, thick forest fire smoke that just like lingers. And sometimes it's
Mm.
genuinely like, there's a couple summers I remember like hurts the eyes,
Yep.
affects working out. Like you can feel it when you're working out. The air filtration system, like the gym that I used to work out in, like it got in the building. Like it was
Yeah.
like smoky in the building. And it's like affected the workout. And it's like, well, what are you gonna do? All you can do
Yeah.
is like if you over fixate on it, is you're just gonna be stressed about it. It's already hard enough on the body. But yeah, I don't think about it much though.
What about
Outside.
like do you guys get a lot of pollen there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't have a lot of allergies. Do you?
I do not have any allergies, no.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I
But
also don't.
pollen is annoying still, like especially when it's really bad. It's all over the car and everything's all over you, and you sneeze every now and then. Like, so I guess like it's more of the condition. Like, I don't think we're changing the environment anytime soon. So we got to figure that out, like how to just live within it, work out within it, and stuff like that. So when like I literally wrote that down, like check environment for optimal health. You live in LA? Question mark. That was my note for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the next step is to maybe go move somewhere, move to Montana or something like that.
For sure.
That'd be cool. Okay, next one.
Yes.
The blood test. I think that was the next one. He tests his blood, and I think that's where he's collected data to see things like his rate of aging. So he made a point of saying that he, based off of this data, seems to be aging 50% slower than average.
Yeah, which is super interesting. Like, I would love to see like more about what that data is or how they come up with that. Like, what if I can take an at-home blood test? Is that going to tell me the same thing? Who do I send that into? Like, that would be interesting to figure out. Maybe that is out there.
What do you think about his what do you think about his like aesthetic, his look? Because he does do you know how old he is?
I think I looked it up. 47.
Okay, he's 47 years old. What do you think about his appearance, like his youthfulness?
I literally, again, after watching it, like looked him up and all this because I never heard about it, and I was not impressed. So, like, number one, he's like I said, he's not doing enough protein, so he's not jacked. So he doesn't have the, quote unquote, like any physique that I would even like bodybuilder, calisthenics, CrossFit, like none of that. He's just a dude, normal dude, a fit dude, like in shape. But like even like I wouldn't even call him like good looking. You know what I mean? Like I think he's just a dude. So that's why I was kind of surprised. I'm like, man, you're doing all this for your hair, you're doing all this for your like your face and your skin. I'm like, okay, you look like a normal dude and you're 47. Like you don't look younger. I thought like if I was literally thinking, okay, if he's 60, like okay, maybe we got something here. But maybe it's like compound interest. We just don't know yet. We gotta wait and see. What about you?
I think the interesting thought experiment would be imagining what he would look like if he didn't have this routine. Like, I wonder how much different he would actually look like if he was a 47-year-old that didn't do all of that stuff.
Yeah.
If there would be any difference and just how much of a difference. But yeah, I think that like there is an element to his aesthetic, his look that does look a little bit more youthful. I think part of it's his personality, like the way that he put it, the video edited the video, for example, like that first opening sequence
jumped
where,
in.
like he jumps out. It's like he's like a fun, youthful guy. Like I think that has kind of an impression. And then also too, like I think having lots of hair, like I think that does play a role in making him look a little bit more useful. Or shoot, not useful, youthful.
Oh no!
Sorry, Zach, you're out on that one. And also his skin, like he just looks like he's got really clear, soft skin. But I think the interesting thought experiment would be getting to see what he would look like if he didn't do all of this stuff and like how much of a difference it actually is making on his appearance. That's what
Does
I
it
want.
just make you think though, like, it goes against everything that in my core, I would think like you have to overcome hard things to become tough and like more resilient. like if he's so soft skinned and everything else, like he has one, like if he's not living in his hyperbolic chamber, then he's gonna die. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you almost become so optimal that you can only do that one thing, and like, one little bad environment outside with the air quality, and you just like wither away. So like,
Yeah.
because like we were saying, like skin soft, like, well, because he probably hasn't had to go out there and work with his hands and
Yeah,
be
yeah.
aching in the sun and like learn toughness and like mental toughness and like drive and hard work. I mean, I'm sure he has obviously
That's a
huge.
good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, yeah. You like kind of on the journey of like self-betterment
Yeah.
for a lot of people, it involves playing a toll on you physically. Like you mentioned, like having hardened hands, like someone that works manual labor, physical labor to some degree has like toughened hands,
Yeah.
or just like lifting weights regularly and hard. Like my hands are all calloused up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and like you think of like a construction worker, like they got super, super tough hands. And I mean, it's not all about the hands being tough,
Yeah.
but like, but yeah, no, that's a really good point. I wonder what his personality's like as far as like what happens if he doesn't get his supplements in this day, or
Does
what
he lose
happens if he
his?
doesn't, or if his,
Yeah.
yeah, or if his routine goes off a little bit. Like I wonder if how he handles those kind of like stressors of stepping outside of
Mm.
routine. One of the reasons I wonder that is because that's something that I've stressed about before, and I've had to like learn how to like be okay with like, you know, going
Yeah.
outside of their regular routine sometimes. But I wonder, I'm just
Yeah.
thinking out loud now how he handles those kind of things.
Because again, with him being like a social media guy and a business, like he can't. I mean, I can't imagine he hits it every day. Like life gets in the way and stuff. And I think he's got kids and everything. Like, I just can't imagine that. Yeah, I just keep thinking, like, who knows? We'll probably the next generation will look at us like we are dumb, but it's like I feel like we're in this such sweet spot where we've learned like from our parents and like baby boomers and all this other stuff. Like they learn things through like just straight up hard work and they learn the hard way. Whereas we now have like technology and the internet and we can learn off of others, but we've also learned from them. Like we're only one generation away from like learning the hard way. And so we can do that, but we also have used technology to say, oh, like when my back hurts, maybe I rest it, or I don't actually keep doing the same thing. I can do it a different way, but we still are doing the tough things. I don't know if
Right.
that checks. But yeah, that's what I kind of thought of when you said his soft skin. Oh,
Such soft skin.
so this next part I'm interested in because he didn't really talk about exactly for what he does for his exercise, but he says like four things, right? I think he said strength, cardio, like flexibility and mobility, or something. I can't remember the last
Flexibility
two.
and balance.
Balance. I thought that was interesting, and I actually like that because I do think that is super important. Because me, hashtag hybrid. I was actually I can't remember what podcast I was listening to. I was actually gonna send it to you when you sent me this one, looking at once, but it was talking about like how bodybuilders they don't train for like sports at all and they'll get hurt like going out throwing a frisbee or something, right? Like 'cause they're just like ideal at doing their one thing. Um, so I do think that is important. I think cardio is important. I think flexibility, balance, all that stuff, and especially as you get older, like balance is super important. Flexibility is super important. But what are your thoughts on his four, focus things? But he didn't go in details, so I don't really know what he does.
Yeah. Well, I guess it boils down to like what his goals specifically are. So he's different than me. My
Mhm,
goals are build as much muscle as I possibly can, then do bodybuilding competitions.
mhm,
It's not exactly to optimize longevity and live an extra 50 years, which I think seems to be what he's aiming for.
yeah.
So my goals are different than his, so I wouldn't structure things the way that he does. But um, I'm assuming that all of the research he's done on his exercise routine checks off of those boxes really well. Here's where I'm a little bit skeptical of it. So
Mhm,
like he boiled it down to, or he divided each pillar of his training to strength, cardio, balance, and flexibility. What Something that I've learned, I think I learned this initially through Menno Henselmans. Mike Israetel might talk about this at some point, or he might regularly talk about this. I'm not sure, but Menno definitely has. Is that when you're doing strength training, you're kind of hitting more than one bird with the same stone. So, for
Yep.
example, if you're doing a really good job of squatting with good technique, like ass to grass, maximal depth, great control, not only are you strength training, but you're also improving your flexibility in the process. And I
Yep.
think some people might argue that's the most efficient way of spending your time to improve your flexibility, because you're doing two things at the same time. And it might be the most developed flexibility you can accomplish because you're doing it under load in a compromised position. So if you're able to squat as deep as possible with weight on your back, it's tough to
You go to it with nothing. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So spending your time doing those things separately, for me, like, I wouldn't do it because I think it's almost like a waste of time. It's like
Yeah.
I'd rather just do the strength training and improve my flexibility at the same time as improving my strength. And you
Yeah.
can also make a point in this isn't the same, and this is where, like, different goals,
Yep.
it's important to identify that different people have different goals. But you could make a point of, like, with squats, for example, if you wanna work on your strength, so and building muscle and your flexibility and your cardio, you can
Yep.
just do high rep sets of
Yes.
squats, and
Be
you're kind of
breathing.
you're hitting all of those different areas within one single activity. And then also balance, that's an interesting one. You I mean,
Like, yeah, what balance?
there's
Like,
nothing
yeah.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
nothing scarier too than a dude like if you were I think it was Mike Israetel that I heard make this point. He was talking about jujitsu
Mhm.
and facing an opponent that spends all of their time doing like balance-based Bosu ball exercises and that sort of thing,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
the silly stuff that you see people in the gym that are really good at that, all of the balance-based, mobility-based exercises, versus someone that just can regularly squats 5, 6, 700 pounds. It's like
Yeah.
he's like, I'm scared of facing off against the guy that's just like stronger, that's
Yeah.
deadlifting way more weight than the guy that's like really good at the mobility exercises or the
Mhm,
balance
mhm.
exercises. So
Yeah.
I don't know, that kind of resonates with me. I don't know exactly what the balance thing means specifically. I know clearly he's got this very well fleshed out and thought out, but for me, I think that for the average person that wants to just like be healthy and be strong and like check off all these boxes, you might not need to divide your training into all of these different areas. You could just do strength training and do a really good job of it and
Yep.
probably hit all of those boxes enough to be as healthy as you possibly can be, shy of the maybe 1 or 2% that maybe he's hitting and we're not.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, that's a good point because again, it doesn't seem like he's training for anything specific. So you could probably do like a very like a superset kind of quick workout, lightweight, high reps. He could get a really good full body workout in and then check all the boxes. I also think anytime people say cardio now, I always want to like have them define that term because I don't know what that means, right? Like people will say, "Oh,
That's a good
do
point.
cardio." So did he walk on the treadmill? Did he do volume squats? Is he doing a VO2 max like sprints, or is he doing marathons? So like all those are different
Yeah.
aspects, and they all classify as cardio. Um, so like, what is he doing to define what that is for the longevity? Because it would be interesting to see like what I'm sure there's studies on this. I have to look it up. Like, steady state cardio zone 2 versus someone who trains, their VO2 max and stuff like that, and how that affects longevity. Um, but yeah, no, I tend to agree with you. Again, I wasn't really impressed with his physical stature.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
no, I
Yeah,
think
you could tell he's not a bodybuilder.
yeah, you know what I mean. I don't think he's a marathon runner either, though. So, but yeah. Now we talked a little about this next point, and I don't have any data for this, but I love me some sauna. So, what about you? Do you love some sauna? Do you do saunas?
Yeah, it's okay. I don't do it very often. If I do
Okay.
it, Last time I did it, I have a memory of doing it maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I remember it being comfortable.
Okay, okay.
How does it fit into your routine? Do you do it regularly, and what do you like about it?
Yeah, so I think I don't do it as much as I would want to because it's a time thing. I'm always short time. I would always do it at the end, and then I'm always rushed, and so then I never do it. If I do, like, oh my god, I love it, you know. But also, it's weird because I'm also always balancing my training. So, like tomorrow, I have off. I'm going to go and get an awesome workout in, and then I would like to sit in the sauna, but then I know I'm running later, and I don't necessarily want to sit in the sauna and then go run like 8 miles 2 hours later. Because I feel like sauna would be like the last thing I want to do. So I do it decent amount. I think some of it also is it reminds me of my childhood. So my mom is 100% Finnish. Her family's from Finland, and so she grew up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And so everyone has saunas up there. So my dad had a sauna. We had a sauna at my house growing up, and it was a wood burning
Wow,
one, and we used to get that thing like cooking, like
wow,
240 hot, and it was a big one too. Could fit 8 people
damn.
at a changing room. It was awesome for wrestling. I wrestled, all the wrestling team would want to come over and cut and stuff like that. So I think part of it just remembers like always sitting in a sauna,
Right.
just enjoying it. So I love though like a super hot sauna. Like the ones at the gym sometimes are problematic because they don't want people dying in them. So like when I go into a sauna, it's like 170. I'm like, what am I doing in here? You know, it's just like lukewarm. It's like a bath, like lukewarm. So I need it. Like he made a point to say 200 degrees, which I do agree. It needs to be that or higher. And I love the one where I got the stones in there. I can put the water on there, and a lot of the gym ones you can't, you know, because it's all electric. So I should do more of them. I do think they help. I am not a cold plunge fan or a cold shower fan. I am a sauna fan. I was interested that he didn't talk about cold plunging at all. I know that's like the new thing, but I do think saunas are just more relaxing. So I don't know how much of it is a muscle recovery versus like you're just mentally like just thinking about it. I could feel like you know um, but yeah, so I should do them more. But he said it was one of his best things that they've added in.
Yeah, he did seem like he was really excited about it.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, I think the biggest thing that I would get out of it is just like you mentioned, is just the relaxation feeling from
Yeah.
sitting in the sauna and, like, feeling my stress levels go down, maybe, like, lowering my cortisol a little bit.
Yep.
I don't know about the intricate research surrounding how it affects recovery or, like, his whole longevity thing, increasing the lifespan.
Yeah.
Um, there's probably, like, something to do with vasodilation, expanding your blood vessels, being helpful for recovery, like, maybe doing it after a training session to increase blood circulation being helpful, more blood flow to your muscles, probably helpful in some way. It's
Yeah.
probably that. He made a point of saying, I think it boosts metabolism. I think we talked about this
Mhm.
earlier even. Boosts metabolism and releases toxins.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm skeptical about those is I think if it does boost your metabolism, like, it's not by that much, like, it's almost trivial,
Yeah.
and as far as and metabolism basically meaning energy expenditure, like burning calories,
Mhm.
and expelling toxins through sweat or secreting toxins through sweat. I don't know how much of an impact that has overall, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm kind of skeptical of it. I know he just glazed over those things. It's a 10-minute video. There's not enough time to get into the detail
Mhm.
anyway, so can't really critique him too much for that. He shared as much as he could in a
Yeah.
10-minute video, without getting too sciencey, which I mean, that's fine.
Yeah. All I know, it's
Still
probably
though.
better than what I did as a kid growing up, where we get the sauna super hot, it would snow, and then we would jump
Oh,
out and
yeah, I
lay in the
love
snow as
that.
long as possible. Yeah, that's probably not
Oh, we
healthy,
love
right? I don't
probably
know.
not.
My heart
We all
probably
getting,
was like,
like,
"Stop me."
hypothermia and, like
Yeah.
oh, we used
Yep,
to do that
yep.
too. That's
Yes,
awesome.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, cold plunges, so you're not a cold plunge person, eh?
I am not. I just don't have the mental toughness, I think. Also, I don't have a cold plunge, but I've tried the cold shower thing, and it does wake you up, that's for sure. I don't know, like, I haven't got on that bandwagon. It's like unnecessary pain to prove that
Yeah.
you're tough. I don't know, like, yeah.
I'm not into it either, not even a little bit. The only times I've done it are cold showers, and that's
Mhm.
been, like, when there's the power's been out or there's
Yeah.
no hot water, the hot water tank's out, and it's like, "Well, got no choice. Either I'm gonna be stanky or I gotta do the cold shower," and it's been the cold shower, and,
Yep.
there is something to it, like, you do feel better afterwards, but,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, the pain that goes into it, is it worth voluntarily doing that on a regular basis? Not for me.
Yep. I agree. I agree. Now the next one, have you done anything with this red light? I have not. What's
No, I've
your
never.
what's your take? Yeah. It's
I
like
know
the
it's a
new thing
fad.
though.
It is one
Yeah.
of those
I don't
fads.
understand. Some of it
Do
has
you
to
know
hit your
much about it?
skin though. I know nothing about it.
Yeah.
I know like all the gyms though, they have it. It's supposed to, I don't know. I I don't even know how to speculate.
Yeah, I honestly, like, I know it's a fad too. I
Yeah.
see people on Instagram that are showing in their Instagram stories that's, like, part of their routines.
Mhm.
From my understanding, it might help with, like, cell aging, the health of your
Mhm. Mhm.
skin, maybe the health of your hair too, but honestly, I don't know that much about
Yeah.
it,
Well,
so I don't know if I should
anyone
do it.
watching, if you know anything about it, put it in the comments and tell us what we don't know.
Yes.
Yes.
Let us know. Cool. I guess, on to the next one then.
Yep. Yep.
Shockwave therapy. I think that's the next one, right?
Yes.
Um, so he made a point of saying he does a shockwave therapy, didn't explain it too much, but kind of alluded to it being something that helps keeps his joints strong and
Mhm.
healthy.
Mhm.
Do you know much about shockwave therapy?
Nope, never heard of that either. I found it interesting. I think that makes logical sense, right? Like you should train your joints, but how do you train your joints, right? Like, um, but he said it's super painful, which then is like weird to me that like, how is that good? Like it shouldn't be painful, I don't think, if you're slowly building them. So I'd have to look up some science behind that, but I do think that is something that should be explored because as people get older, that's one of the things that always ends up giving out, caving in, like people fall, their joints go bad, bad hips, bad knees. I think there's probably a lot of reasons why leading up to those things. So if you're just a healthy young individual who's training correctly and working on things, you probably won't have those issues. But what about you? Do you know anything about it or have you heard about it?
I've heard about it, but I don't know very much about it.
Mhm, mhm.
That was the most I've ever heard anyone explain the topic,
Yeah,
I think, the little that he shared about it. I guess my piece of skepticism comes from, like, if you're already strength training, like, I think strength
correct. You're already
training
putting
might
that on it. Yeah.
it's not like building muscle when you're strength training, like, muscle growth happens, to my understanding, happens relatively quickly compared
Mhm,
to strengthening your joints and your tendons, like, those other types of tissues, they take
mhm.
a lot longer to strengthen, but they do strengthen over time with continued strength training. So, I would think that that would be enough, but I guess, like, he's going for that extra fraction of a
Yeah,
percent
yeah,
to help with his overall longevity. He's probably not exposing his body to, like, super challenging loads, I'm
mhm,
guessing, and also from looking at his physique, like, he's got muscle on his frame, he looks good, but,
yeah,
like, he's not a bodybuilder, so it looks like he's not super, super strong, like, he's really building up his muscles, his strength, and his joints in the process, so maybe that is he's kind of it's like a missing link. It
yeah,
does make logical sense to try to, like, if his focus is longevity and improving his lifespan, it does make sense to try to do something to keep that part of your body healthy, because at the end of the day, we're only as strong as our weakest link, and for
yeah,
so many people, our joints are our weakest link, so it does
yeah,
make sense to work on that, but again, my piece of skepticism comes from thinking if you're already strength training, then, how much more can the shockwave therapy be helping?
yeah,
So
yeah, true. And also, it's like one of those things where a couple of these last things where he starts talking about how it gets weird and all these other things, like if it's not mainstream yet, I mean, you could be at the cutting edge. Cool, makes sense. But also, like, if it was that good, everyone would be doing it. Like, and especially the people with money, like athletes.
yeah,
Like, so, but there might be a difference between performance versus longevity, right? And that might be where the stipulation is a little bit different. It doesn't help them perform better, but it might make them live longer, so they don't do it. But
yeah,
yeah,
that's a good point.
so yeah,
That's a good point.
Yep.
Next point I think it was his next meal. I think he's
Yeah.
got 2 meals left. It was because I think this was the one that he called super veggie,
Yes. All
and
that.
this yeah, and he has it from his, like, particular, like, food containers that don't have, like, microplastics that
Yes,
contain
I wrote that down
food.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm
So
like,
very
oh, here we go.
yeah, so very particular about how he stores his food, and
Should
I think
store
he
them in
made
glass. That's what you should store them
yeah. But yeah,
in.
what were your thoughts on those meals? So I think that these were meals that we talked about this earlier,
Mhm.
consisted of like some kind of a rotation of plant-based foods, vegetables and beans, like lentils
Yeah.
and legumes, um, and olive oil. He sounds like he's trying
Yeah,
to.
all about that olive oil. It's like the
There's a little
Mediterranean
bit of
diet or something.
yeah. There has been. I have seen a little bit of hype, not just from him, about there being some extra health benefits behind the regular consumption of olive oil or olives.
Mhm.
But anyways, what are your thoughts on, like, the food selection, the meals, the special containers, avoiding microplastics and stuff? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think all the veggies, man, I think that's I guess maybe he's not hungry because it would be very filling, I guess, the volume of it, but I just don't understand. I guess he's making up for all those nutrients like we talked about earlier, whatever that other mix and stuff is, 'cause I don't know, like, how do you live life? That's the hardest part. I thought, again, more of the skeptic in me as he starts talking about, like, the plastic containers. I feel like that's the stuff that doesn't need to be said. You know what I mean? The more he, like, points out those little things, it's like, okay, now we've kind of gone into, like, conspiracy mode instead of, like, we're actually trying to factually find out what is gonna live longer. Um, like, those are the
Yeah, I
things
get
that
that.
just don't need to be addressed. Like, "Oh, they made these things out of plastic, and plastic's bad." It's like, "Oh, okay." Like, how many times do you have a phone with a phone case that you put on your ear? Like, what are we talking about here? Um, so yeah, I don't know, because then I think right after that, a little bit, he talks about his final meal, and it's like just nuts and all this. I'm like,
It's the same kind of deal.
yeah, I don't understand. Like, I would love to see like the macro breakdown if he like presented that. Um, it'd be interesting to see exactly what he's getting out of there. But yeah, I don't know, because I don't think he said how many calories he eats a day,
No, I didn't.
which is I would think that would be very interesting to know. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I'm interested to know.
yeah.
I, I thought the meal looked good. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, the veg, my
You love
personal
veg.
preference is yeah, I love veg. I have very high volumes of veg too. But the
Mhm.
thing that just gets me is like, man, no animal-based protein in there. It's like, man, you
Yeah.
it's a missed opportunity. That was
Yep. Yep.
honestly, that's the thing that gets me is like, man, he's gotta have his reasoning, like, really fleshed out, I would imagine, if this whole
Yeah.
focus is longevity. So there's gotta be good reasons for not including it.
Yep.
I don't know if I would completely buy it. There's, different schools of thoughts. We could talk about the carnivore diet. I mean, like, people that,
Mhm.
only eat steak, for example, steak and organ meat and
Yeah.
that sort of thing, that don't eat any vegetables or hardly any vegetables, but,
Mhm. Mhm.
I wouldn't fall into that camp either. I also like vegetables, but,
Yeah, I think everything in balance.
yeah. Human
Um,
digestive system, pretty diverse.
yeah, it's like mid for survival. It's like crazy. Um,
We're omnivores.
yeah, we can eat anything. So, um, and I think his last one that I had was the crazy hyperbolic chamber with 100% pure oxygen or something under pressure, 90 minutes a day that he's got his computer set up. He can do work or whatever it is. He's got like a mask, like he's going into space. He even admits that it's the craziest thing too. So at least he
It looks
owns it.
crazy.
Yeah, and I don't know how much
Looks
that should
cool.
cost. Like that'd be interesting. But I don't understand. I'd have to go back through and see what he's talking about, like what he's getting out of this, like pure oxygen. I don't know. Um,
Yeah, that's also I also don't understand. I just don't I mean, I know oxygen is good and that we need it to live, so, I mean, there's something to that. The thing looks sweet, it looks awesome. I think some of the things that I wrote down that it does is it helps with the acceleration of healing.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote microbiome in my notes, so maybe that helps with digestion, your gut
Mm-hmm.
microbiome, or like, I don't know, different parts of not sure. I don't think he elaborated on it. I think he also mentioned it helping with brain health, having
Yep.
more oxygen being important, I suppose. But yeah, I've never done it. Have you ever done
Yeah.
it?
Never. Nope.
Yeah,
We're gonna die in early age.
man, we're screwed.
Yeah. I have no hair. I'm definitely done. I'm
Oh
cooked.
man.
Um.
Um, I did have one more point. He
Okay.
mentioned that he does other stuff, like he runs 3 different businesses. He also trolls people on social
Yeah.
media,
Love it.
and he like creates content and that sort of thing. But after that, he eats another meal, which is, I think I got that right. The
Mm-hmm.
next meal, unless I got the
11
timeline wrong, the next meal was at 11 a.m. or
11 a.m.
11:30,
Final meal of the
and
day.
it consisted of like more veg and beans, legumes, no protein again, and
Yep.
that's the last meal that he eats in the day is at 11 a.m. So
Mhm.
that was the interesting point that I kind of
He
jotted
goes to
down.
bed at like 8:30. He said,
Yeah,
and
so
he
it's like
says it
a
helps like lowering his like heart rate and everything else for him to go to sleep. Stuff like that. So, and he talks about like the other things like alcohol, book, or like be, blue light, all that other stuff. Like, um, so it just helps him kind of like his body shuts it down so it's not working when he's trying to sleep, so he gets better sleep. I think is what I kind of took away from that.
yeah.
Um,
What do you what could
I
you
would be
do that?
hungry. I'd be hungry. But here's the thing: he's specifically doing this for longevity. He's obviously not training for anything hard because no one in their right mind could do that with like lifting heavy, running far, doing sport. Like I think it'd be very difficult to perform without having like those animal based proteins, not having enough carbs in them, not eating, fueling your workouts. Like you know what I mean? I don't know. I have a hard time. But again, like you were saying earlier, goals. If his goals are just to live as long time, but then man, we could go deep with it. Like, what's the purpose of living a long time if you're not enjoying it, or what is living? Just
Yeah.
you're there by yourself and you outlive everyone, and all your family and kids die, and you outlive them and stuff like that. Seems depressing.
Yeah, geez.
It
One
might
of
be
the
the yeah.
That's
Go ahead.
definitely an argument against it, that's for sure.
Yeah. Can you imagine being like 120? Your kids die like they're 90.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I'm perfectly happy with dying at whatever my natural age is going to be from just
Yeah.
living a healthy lifestyle.
Natural.
Whatever naturally means.
Check out our
Jeez.
last episode to determine what that was.
Yeah. I'll make sure to link that above at the end of this video, so check that out
Yes.
after this one. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's a good point though. Like, it boils down to what your goals are. So
Mhm,
it makes
mhm,
logical sense that he does this for the purpose of ensuring that his heart rate's down. So heart rate is down. So I think he's alluding to like your heart rate would spike up, especially if relatively close to a meal, with the spike of your blood sugar. It would
mhm.
drop after. So like what how close is your last meal to when you go to bed?
So I eat dinner pretty early because I'm always hungry. By the time I get there, because I fast, in the morning. Um, so I usually eat dinner around 5:30 to 6:30 in
Yeah.
the evening. And it's like we do that Hello Fresh where it's not enough food ever. Like it will never satisfy me, like the amount of lack of calories in it. Um, and then I'll have a protein shake uh after that with like ice or whatever, so it feels like more of like a
High
dessert kind of
volume.
thing. Yeah. And I probably 7:30 is the latest I'll have those. And I go to bed late. So but I'm never hungry in the morning. So it kind of does fill me up. But I do try to give time. Like I don't like going to bed with like a full stomach. I feel like heavy, bloated. Yeah. I know when I have like my cheat days or party or go out, eat like a pizza or something, and I try to go to bed, I definitely don't feel as good. I don't think I sleep as well either. Um,
Right.
so what about you?
Well, I actually interesting. I eat mine pretty close to when I go to bed, like within 2
Mm-hmm.
hours, and my largest meal is before bed. And I like doing that because I like feeling full and not hungry when I go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't like I just that's my most comfortable state is like full Sam is happy Sam, and
Yeah, yeah,
happy
yeah, yeah.
Sam can fall asleep easier. So
Nice.
I,
Yes.
yeah, I eat and my stomach is pretty full by the time I'm in bed. It's digested enough that it's not still up here that it's like giving me acid reflux or heartburn or anything like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
deep enough into the digestion process that it doesn't interfere in that way. But I am full when I go to bed, and
Yeah.
but that's been my personal preference, and honestly, I kind of fall asleep at around the same time every night and haven't really had a ton of problems, and I find that the times that I do have problems, it's doesn't seem to be because of the meals. There are
Mm-hmm.
confounding variables, but I think that the main reason if I do have trouble sleeping, it's because something's on my mind, not
Ah,
because I'm
yeah.
full or because like he noted, my heart rate um, is high. But it does
Mm.
make logical sense what he said, like, if that gets his heart rate nice and slow and he's able to just pass right out, I can see that being a huge bonus, but I guess
Yeah.
just for me personally, it hasn't really seemed to be an issue.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think that was like um my biggest takeaway from everything he kind of talked about. Like a lot of it does make logical sense. I think a lot of it are good things to do. I just think there's a couple of them and maybe how he talks about it that makes me kind of give like the to the whole video, you know what I mean? But if you break it down, it's like, yeah, these are probably good things that you should try to do. Most of these things, I think most people in most circumstances, um, even if you're wake up early, wake up late, whatever you do, depending on when you're working, I think you can incorporate a lot of these things and you might not live longer. You'll probably just feel a little bit healthier. You know, you'll feel a little bit lighter, moving around, not as sluggish. Get that sunlight, drink that water. Like I think all that will help.
Yeah, I think that's a really good summary. I think, one of the big takeaways with him is to note that everything that he is doing is extra above what the average person
Hmm.
is doing or will ever do, and I think that's a part of the point of the experiment is to see what happens with doing all of these extra things, the red light therapy, the shockwave therapy, the hyperbolic oxygen tank or whatever capsule.
Yeah.
Looks like it's from Dragon Ball Z or something like that.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Or I
But they're
think of
all
Jurassic World when they're in that spinning
Oh, yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah. Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about. I
Yeah.
haven't seen all of those Jurassic Park movies, but I know what you're
Yes.
talking about.
Yes.
Totally, totally, I can see that. Um, but it's like, yeah, he's just, like, adding all of these fractions of a percent, an extra percent, and
Hmm.
I think that's where the experiment really that's what it is. It's
Yeah.
like all of these extra things that no one else is doing to see what happens.
Kind of like we were talking about in one of the other episodes about, how much building more muscle and the supplements we take, are they really going to make the difference, right? These are the fractions of percents, that he's pushing into. The average person doesn't need to do that to get a great physique.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah, cool. Well, what do you think?
I think it's good. I might incorporate some of these, but probably not. I'm screwed with the hair.
Well, you could always try the serum and see what happens.
Yeah, right. I'll show up with a ton of hair next time. Wear a
Yeah,
wig.
yeah, it worked.
Yeah,
That's you
exactly.
should. You just come with the wig. That'd be funny.
Yes, yes,
Um,
I got you.
cool. Well, yeah, this has been awesome. Thanks as always,
Yep,
Zach.
sounds good.
For everyone who's watching, the link to our last episode, which was steroid use, super
Yes.
interesting one. We talked about the ethics behind steroid use, natty or not, the ethics behind it. We talked about transhumanism, got kind of weird. It was awesome. You should watch that. Video is going to pop up anytime. If you like the video, give it a like. Any questions or any comments, any thoughts? We want to know what you think. Drop a comment in the comment section below. But thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.